What is going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video, and today we're going to be doing a discussion video on Izo and Okiku. This is actually the first time I'm actually clearing the gabe challenges with their new reset, so we get a bunch of rewards, of course, on first clear. But yeah, in this video today, we're just going to be discussing Izo and Okiku. I've just gone and selected the first couple of gabe challenges, built a quick team against it, and just show you guys what I came up with. I obviously tried to clear it as fast as I possibly could. These are definitely not the fastest teams you can clear with these teams, obviously. You could probably optimize it a bit more, but of course I wanted to use Izo and Okiku as a captain, see how they perform, and just by this I'm going to be judging how they performed and how I kind of felt with this unit. And honestly, you can tell straight off the bat, the fact that we're not using a double captain of Izo and Okiku, man, I am not really the biggest fan of this unit. And I think, honestly, the biggest drawback to Izo and Okiku is their special ability, which I guess we'll kind of start with because that's like the glaring issue with the unit. So first of all, the special is 100 times their attack in typeless damage to all enemies, so very good AoE damage, that's fine. It locks the chain multiplier at 3.5 times for 3 turns. That also is okay, but of course we had a character like Shanks' crew, for example, that's been out for, you know, over 2 years, who already had a special that did that, right? So you'd hope that the rest of the effect was good. So the rest of the special says that if your captain is a slasher or a shooter character, it increases the duration of all boosts for 2 turns. That is kind of mid, honestly, it's really not that good. And then there is an additional effect that says if your crew has 5 or more slashers, changes the top row slots into Wano slots, and if your crew has 5 or more shooter characters, changes the bottom row into Wano slots. So just the fact that the special ability is the same as what we had on like a over 2, nearly 3-year-old unit, and then the additional effects that go alongside that are also very underwhelming. Just considering the caliber of legends that we have in today's day and age in 2022, this is such a terrible special. They really could have gone above and beyond and made this character an absolute powerhouse of a unit. Unfortunately, they did not go down that route, where the special ability is it just doesn't provide enough, unfortunately. And while it was good at the time for the pieces of content that were releasing around this period of time of their release, but just in a lot of regular content, this is not going to be good. And honestly, Shanks' crew is just a better unit that's going to see a lot more play, just because they have a similar special, and the fact that Shanks' crew can be used as a crewmate and activate their switch effect every single turn to generate that 1.5 times attack boost is so good. And also specifically for gabe challenges, like having that Shanks crew was so good, and you'll see in some of the clips in this video, I literally had Shanks crew as a sub on this team just because the effect of switching every single turn to gain that 1.5 times attack boost is ridiculous. And it's kind of unfortunate because the quick typing doesn't really have a lot of those units you can use that will just generate a kind of a boost for you every single turn. You've got Sabo and Ace, which are okay, but they only provide color affinity, which is not good generic damage because you have to attack with type advantage, so that really isn't going to be that great. So their special ability is a humongous letdown and really needed to be changed. Then the fact that they have the really weird orb change depending on what classes are in your team, and then only certain characters on your crew get the slots, absolutely terrible design. Honestly, it should have just been if 5 or more characters on your team are either slasher or shooter, then change all slots into Wano. That's honestly what it should have been. I don't really think it's that bad considering some of the power that we have now, and I do know this character is not a Super Sugo Fest exclusive, but you gotta think, right? We have a character like Bon Clay. Bon Clay is so much better in almost every single way compared to this unit. So it's just a really big drawback, honestly, to this unit. This special is garbage. But then let's have a look at the other components, because another component about this unit that I actually love is the captain ability. I think there is absolutely nothing wrong with the captain ability, boosting the attack of quick units, slasher units, and shooter units by 4.75, giving them a 1.5 times health boost, which is magnificent, and then also makes quick and dex slots beneficial to those characters that they boost. So that's already a fantastic effect, but then they have another effect that is just amazing of reducing 10 turns of paralysis. So not only is it great attack boost, great health boosts, and you've also got more matching slots, but also the fact that you can just reduce 10 turns of paralysis, so that's fantastic. And then whenever you use their special ability, for the following 3 turns, instead of a 4.75 times attack boost, it's a 5 times attack boost instead, which honestly doesn't really matter. Like, that small jump from 4.75 to 5 times you don't really notice it that much, especially if you're running a hybrid situation. Really doesn't make that much of a difference, but at least it's a nice thing. It's nice that it's there either way. So captain ability, I would say, is pretty much flawless. I don't have any issues at all with that captain ability at all. But then another component of when you use them as a captain is you get access to their super type special. Now, unfortunately, I do feel like their super type special is also extremely underwhelming. Now, in order to activate it, you need very specific characters, either one of the Red Scabbard characters. You can use Whitebeard, of course. So it's not too bad. You can use a lot of the characters that are, in Wano, a lot of the more recent characters that have been releasing over the past few months, of course. But then there's also the added effect of either having an effect that is a chain-related buff, or an orb boost as well. So you need to have an orb boost and a chain buff at the exact same time for the super type special to be activated. So it's an extremely niche circumstance, and obviously it does make sense with the unit considering their special provides a chain lock, and then their special will also extend the duration of any orb boost. So if you do plan your team effectively, you can have an orb boost, use their special, extend the duration of that orb boost, and then at that point you'll have the orb and the chain, which means that you can get the super type special to be active. And what the actual effect does is that it increases the effectiveness of your chain locks by plus 0.3, and then changes the middle row slots into Wano. So again, they've got this really weird Wano slot change mechanic. I think it's absolutely terrible. It really doesn't help that much. And then buffing any chain lock that you have by plus 0.3, not that great either, considering chain locks are probably one of the weaker, damage boosting buffs that you can have. I mean, we've seen it with Super Boss Kizuna, for example. We really don't care about the chain locks. They really don't provide like huge damage potential like with some of the chain boosts that we have now, or chain boundaries, for example. Like all of those chain buffs that can stack together are so much more powerful comparatively to these chain locks. So your damage is kind of capped in a way when you have a chain lock active, and the fact that not only is their special dedicated to chain lock, but their super type special is also dedicated to chain lock is a pretty big disappointment. In terms of what I would have preferred off of this unit, I think that the orb change needed to be way better, and I think potentially it would have been cool if they had additional utility or some type of boosting effect. I think it would have been awesome if they just provided a 2x orb boost to quick slasher and shooter, and then change all slots into like, matching slots, or just change a certain amount of slots into Wano. I'm not really too sure on the orb change side of things, but I think if they provided their own orb boost, it would have made them more self-sufficient and unreliant on other characters on your crew. I think that would have been way better, because then you could have used their super type to get the orb boost, and then you could use their special to make it like a 2-turn or 3-turn orb boost, and then you have your 3-turn chain lock. I think it would have been way more effective, but hey, it is what it is. They're really aiming to get you to use Kinemon and Denjiro alongside Izo and Okiku. So it does make sense. Like, I understand the design of the unit, but if you look at it in a vacuum, this character is just terribly designed. And you can see in some of these clips here that we are opting to use Shank's crew as the sub just because of that amazing switch effect of generating that attack boost every single turn. Sober Mask, also another phenomenal character, using their special ability to get multiple different turns of that attack. But of course, that's one of the things as well, is, the fact that this character is focused on using slashers and shooters, and you need to have a certain amount of slashers or a certain amount of shooters on your crew in order to get the very specific orb manipulation that this character has when you activate their special ability. And of course, when you are challenging GARP challenges and you got to run a full quick team, a character like Izo and Okiku is not an optimal captain to use at all. Definitely just mono quick captains or mono type captains are the best characters to use in GARP challenges. Obviously, that's a bit of a caveat because there are some outliers that are extremely broken, of course. But realistically, a character like Izo and Okiku, not a good captain option for this type of content anyways. But another thing that we can talk about that I do think is actually very good is their support effect. Their support effect attaches to essentially all of the Red Scabbards once again, but it does also attach to Whitebeard, which is great. It attaches to Odin, Momonosuke, Hiyori, so it attaches to a lot of good units. And what it does is that anytime you're inflicted with paralysis, you just remove 2 turns of it. So a great paralysis utility effect that's definitely going to see a lot of play. I do think it would have been cool if they would have opted to maybe bump it up to a 3-turn paralysis removal, similar to like Legend Bartolomeo. I think that would have been awesome, considering a lot of the Red Scabbards, they are getting a lot of decent supports nowadays because of all of the recent Sugofest batches that have come out over the past few months. But I do think that they do need like some super hardcore power creep supports that would make these scabbard teams even better than what they already are. But either way, this character, personally, I don't really know how much I'm going to be using them in the future, but it is nice to get a new legend to show to you guys and give my thoughts and opinions on them. Maybe we'll have to go ahead and challenge some arenas or some Colosseum or Clash content just to have a little bit of team variety, so we're not really reliant on the quick typing and we can rely more on the classes, because it is a little bit strange that this character is so focused on bringing slashers and or shooters on your team, but this character has a super type special. It is a bit bizarre. It almost feels like this character was focused on super class instead, and then at the last second they decided to switch it out for super type, so not really too sure about that. But I do hope that design of some of the legends moving forward does alter, because it does feel like over the past few months, especially after New Year's, the characters have gone down in terms of their overall strength. You know, we had the character release of V2 Odin and Kinemon and Denjiro, and I don't think anyone in the community is thinking that they're bad characters. I think they're actually very good characters. But overall, since New Year's, the overall power level of these characters that have been coming out has definitely been softened, and I think that maybe they're trying to just wean us off of this power creep until they come out with the anniversary on the 12th of May and potentially sucker punch us with a huge power creep of characters. That could potentially be happening, or it could be just a huge tinfoil hat theory that I have. But anyways, I'm very excited to just see what's coming next, honestly, and see whether or not that this Izo and Okiku can have any synergy with any future characters that are coming out in the future, and maybe there might be some characters that come out in the future that really make this character even more powerful than what they already are. Maybe there's going to be some character that gives like a super uber chain lock buff that this character could be used with. Who knows, honestly. But either way, that is going to pretty much wrap up this video. I'll leave you guys with the rest of this one as we absolutely mollywop this NL Garb challenge. I hope you guys have enjoyed this one, and definitely let me know down below in the comment section what are your thoughts and opinions on the Sugo Fest exclusive Izo and Kikunojo or Okiku character. I definitely want to hear your guys' opinions on this character and just whether or not you kind of like them. If you have them, what kind of characters do you like using with them? Obviously, it's a little bit difficult for myself personally, as I do not own Kinemon and Denjiro, and I think that character may provide some pretty interesting team build compositions, honestly, like even as a friend captain, because if you attack with type advantage, you can generate the Wano slots, of course, which are very useful, and of course if you use their special ability, you get the orb boost, and then use the special of Izo and Okiku to extend it. They just have great synergy with Kinemon and Denjiro, but unfortunately, not quite yet. We can't really showcase them quite yet. But anyways, hopefully you guys have enjoyed this one. And if you guys did, make sure you go ahead and leave a like. And if you want to stay up to date with all of the content that I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. But other than that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.